Okay, everybody. Second time's the charm. I just wanted to confirm that we are live on DLive. Perfect. And we are. Okay. All righty. Just one second, y'all. Okay. Just wanted to confirm that we are live on DLive. All right, guys. So, like I said, we're live on DLive, Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook right now. So currently, we're going to be talking about HEX. That's what the stream is about. It's about HEX, and HEX has been doing pretty good lately. It's reached an all-time high, and we're going to definitely be talking about HEX. So now that the stream is working on DLive, we're just going to retweet the proper link real quick. So stay tuned, get comfortable, and hold on for just a second here. Okay. Alrighty, cool. Just one more second, guys. 1 second. All right, we got Brizology, we got Flying Alex, we got Into the Fire. Just one more second, guys. 1 second. Cool. Okay, so let me go over to the DLive. So yeah, we got Into the Fire, Flying Alex. There's a little bit of volume connection there. So yeah, what a weekend in HEX, like Into the Fire has said. We got Children of the Grave in the house as well, and let's just jump right into it. So let me just start sharing the screen, and we'll kind of go over what HEX is doing currently, what it's done this past week since the last time I live streamed. Let's see. We're going to read some of the comments still. We got all the Hexicans in the house, and let's do that. So let's start with the screen share. Let me go to StreamYard right now, and we'll do the thing. Okay. All right, guys, so we're sharing the screen. Still got the music going. Okay, so let's go over, this is the StreamYard. Let's go over to uniswap.hex.vision. And let me just make sure I'm still on the screen. Okay, cool. So yeah, uniswap.hex.vision. This is where you can see the chart for HEX. There's two different versions of Uniswap. There is version 1, which is good for historical snapshot and trend lines. And then there's version 2, which has the most liquidity and the most volume. So version 2 right now is definitely the best version to be on. So currently we can see we're at 8.4 tenths of a penny, 84% of a penny. And the last time we streamed, we were at about 41% of a penny. So we've nearly doubled, and we've done more than that. We've done 128% since the last time I streamed, which was a week ago. And in HEX, guys, it's just getting started. Let's do this real quick here. Okay. So yeah, guys, HEX is just getting started. There's a lot of people that may ask, like, oh, is this too late to jump in? And the answer is no. It's never too late to jump in on HEX, because the way that it works is it mimics compounding interest, and the actual share rate goes up pretty much on it continually goes up. So to answer your question, it's not too late to get in, and we can see that this is the version 2 chart. If we just duplicate this real quick and show you version 1, I'll show you the historical version of what HEX has done. So HEX launched on December 2nd, 2019, and it's already done significantly well. It's a certificate of deposit, and it's built on the blockchain, and the actual code itself is locked, and it is audited 3 times. So we're looking at the screen, we come up to the top left here, we can just type in HEX, and then over to the right, it'll say Uniswap V1 version 1. So you can do it in either Ethereum or you can do it in USDC, which is pretty much like a US dollar equivalent. So we're just going to do USDC because it's the easiest to look at. And let's just get out here. Okay, cool. So this is pretty much the historical chart for HEX. Like I said, it was launched on about December 2nd, I believe, and this actual Uniswap version 1 starts on December 15th. So a couple week delay, but we can see from pretty much the very bottom to the all-time high that we hit today. One second, let's drag this down just a little bit. Okay. All right, guys, so from about the bottom to the all-time high, it's up about 165x from what I'm looking at, just version 1 there. HEX is designed to pump, and it's designed very well. The people that actually created the project, Richard Hart, they delayed the actual launch of the project to make sure that the security was done right. Because at the end of the day, cryptocurrencies are not only very volatile, but they can be very risky investments if you are putting your money into something that's not audited. A lot of cryptocurrencies have had hacks and compromises, and HEX didn't want to have that problem. So let me just go over to the chat real quick. Let's see here. Diraj, belated happy birthday. Thank you. This is the first stream as a 24-year-old. Doing a HEX live stream. So yeah, yesterday was a good birthday, good golden birthday. Got Colin Hexander in the chat. What's up, Colt? How we doing? How we doing? We got Real Spike in the house. Like I said, Into the Fire, Richard, and then Flying Alex. Here's something insightful. So he says, will be interesting to see penalties in the last day. And I agree. Yeah, in HEX, you earn interest a few different ways. You earn interest from penalties where people, they end their stakes early. And you also earn interest from the contract itself that is just designed the way it is to have, I think, a maximum of 3.69% interest annually if everyone is staked. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what the actual penalties will be because if someone is, say, staked for 15 years and they've served maybe like 2% of that actual stake and then they end it, they're going to nuke their stake. And that amount that they nuke, half of it's going to go to the origin address, the contract address, and then half of it, the other half is going to go to the stakers. And so to Flying Alex's point, I agree, man. It's definitely going to be interesting. If you're a Hexagon watching this and you haven't adjusted your stakes already, what the hell are you doing? You know, you should have done that a while back ago, maybe a couple months ago. But if you haven't already and you're planning on it, I would do so sooner than later. And kind of I don't know, the interesting thing when it comes to HEX is you'll get nuked if you don't serve half of the amount that you said you would. So if you're under 50%, you're gonna lose the principal, a portion of it. But if you're at 50% or even more, then most likely you're not gonna lose the principal. So for myself, I've been in it since day one, and I had some stakes that were just ending way too early. So I readjusted accordingly. And now the amount of shares that I have is not only more, higher, but I feel comfortable with the time frames that they're ending. They're not such big spikes in the actual chart. So let's look at the chat a little bit more. This guy, I don't know if I've seen him before in the chat, but good to see you. HEX Rex Max. Let's go HEX. Exactly. So let's see here. What's your average stake length, if you don't mind me asking? So I may or may not have a couple of different addresses in wallets. The average is probably 5 to 7 years, I'd say. Yeah, one of them's 5 years, another one's 7 years, and then I've got stakes that are significantly higher. You know, the 15-year stakes and the 10 to 15-year range. So yeah, about an average of 5 to 7, say 5.5, something like that. You know, the name of the game when it comes to HEX is it pretty much mimics compounding interest with the actual share price going up continually. So instead of, there was a couple different ways that Richard mentioned programming it. Without the share price, if you were to mimic compounding interest, it would be a lot more congestive and work intensive on the Ethereum network to pay out the HEX stakers. Or you could just change one number, which is what Richard did, and that number was the share price, you know, make the share price go up. So let's see. Barely Cracky says, was on YouTube, but I think there is more action here, boys. Hey, yo. Thanks, man. Yeah, still trying to get everything down with the stream and whatnot, but let's go over to the YouTube chat real quick. Okay, cool. Yeah, Barely Cracky was on the YouTube chat as well. So appreciate the support, appreciate the people watching. So yeah, so we've gone over the HEX, the uniswap.hex.vision, the versions 1 and versions 2. Another thing we can go over real quick is the market cap, right? So many people that are in cryptocurrency, you know, market cap is the measurement that they love to preach. So let's just refresh the market cap for HEX, and let's just see where we're at in comparison to, say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, you know, the top 15. It's going to take just a second to load. It's going to be just a little bit slower since we're streaming, but let's scroll down here. So I mean, HEX, according to what I see at least, is top 12 market cap. So, you know, $3,175,781,416 market cap. And the beauty of that is HEX is less than 1 year old and it's already, you know, top 15. And today it was actually, yeah, it's top 12. And it's been pumping a lot lately. And I think a lot of it is due to the big payday. If you don't know what that is, I can explain that in just a couple of minutes. But a lot of the pump is due to, like I said, some of the big payday and just seeing the price go up. You know, it's funny how the psychology, the human psychology works. People, the majority of people, they don't seem to want to buy things when they're cheap. They like to buy things that are up 125x. And that's when they feel like buying. They don't feel like buying it when it's at 1 Satoshi, which just surprises the hell out of me. So yeah, HEX is number 12 market cap, and Big Daddy Bitcoin is 241 billion market cap. And HEX is designed not only to, I mentioned this in the last video, but it's not only designed to be the top one market cap in cryptocurrency, but it's also designed to start competing with some of the traditional market caps. You know, if you look at like Amazon, Tesla, Facebook, Google, or Alphabet Company, I believe they're called. If you look at their market caps, the actual cryptocurrency and Bitcoin market cap, they don't even compare. So HEX is designed to kind of do what Bitcoin never did, which was replace the banks, replace the middlemen. So there's a lot of people in the Bitcoin community that got in early, that Richard Hart was one of them, that thought that Bitcoin could be that replacement. But Bitcoin just never did what it said it was going to do. And they never updated their worldview with reality. Like when the internet first came out, you had dial-up and things like that and super slow connections, and now we've got high-speed internet and things like that. Bitcoin is kind of like the dial-up, and HEX and Ethereum and some of these other cryptocurrencies that are built on top of Ethereum, they're kind of like the high speed, right? And then HEX is probably like the fiber optic. So let's look at some of the comments again. So Flying Alex says, one cool thing about Staker app is you can add all your wallets and it'll give you a combined info. Yes, that is another beautiful thing is Staker app. If you guys aren't familiar, Staker app is an application available. Let's see here. Let me go to the website. So staker.app if you're looking at it on your browser. And then if you go there on your phone, you can download it for Android or you can download it for Apple, your iPhone. So yeah, to his comment, to his point, you can download this application and you can put in all of your addresses and wallets that you own, and it'll collectively combine the amount of shares you have, the amount of HEX that you have, and it'll give you a certain ranking. So we can actually do that. We can take a look real quick. So before the Staker app, they had HEX.live. This is something that Steph developed, and there's different, like I said, there's different rankings. There's like whale, there's shark. Let's just see. Okay, so let's go over here real quick. So this is what Alex was kind of mentioning. So prosperous Poseidon, there's the whale, there's the shark. A lot of the people that got in early are dolphins, if not higher. You know, squid, octopus, crab, shrimp, and then silent shell is, you don't have any shares. So what this kind of does is it kind of plays to the human psychology. You know, humans are very competitive. When you have video games that are developed, they're designed to kind of, you know, reward that competition. And in HEX, we've got a similar concept with the actual Staker app. So yeah, to his point, you can combine all of your different addresses and it'll tell you what rank. And not only what rank of, say, a dolphin you are, but it'll tell you like, oh, you're top 300 out of 1,500 dolphins or whatever the actual number is. So he says, Staker app shows your actual ranking within the league you are in. Exactly, Alex. So it's a pretty cool system and pretty cool ranking for the people that haven't used it before. And not to mention, it's just a sleek look. When it comes to actual real world adoption and getting your average layman onboarded, it's important to have stuff that's not so complex. When people ask like, oh, how do I get into HEX? Well, Richard's answer that he's mentioned in the past is, you know, get Ethereum and then swap that for HEX. And anyways, it's just nice when it comes to adoption to make things more simple. The more that you complicate things, the less of a chance you have of actually scaling that adoption. So that is something that Richard's talked about, and that is something that, you know, may or may not happen in the future, where actual exchanges. Gary Funding Jim, he talked about this, where we haven't seen many big exchanges adopting HEX per se. You know, like the Coinbase, the Gemini, you know, the exchanges that everyone knows, the finance and whatnot. And for everyone that's in right now, you probably have observed as well that there has been a lot of gatekeeping and a lot of holding back. You know, for example, the market cap website that I went to was nomics.com. It wasn't coinmarketcap.com. It wasn't CoinGecko. You know, there's Nomics, there's CoinPaprika, but there's just a lot of people that don't understand how much gatekeeping is being done in regards to HEX. And I think that there's going to be a tipping point. Who knows when it actually is, but right now we're at the top 12 cryptocurrency by market cap, and there's going to be a tipping point of when those actual centralized exchanges, when they actually list HEX and when they stop gatekeeping it. And it's only going to go even more parabolic once the average Joe knows about it. And let's take a look here. So Barely Crafty says, also being nice and welcoming to all new Hexkins no matter if they started out as shrimps or crabs. I completely agree. I mean, honestly, there's been a lot of people talking about the different leagues when it comes to this right here, what actual percentage of shares that you own. And at the end of the day, like, I'm very similar to Richard and myself, have a lot of similar experiences where I used to play video games for, you know, many years as well, and kind of kick that as well. So there's a lot of people that I've noticed in the community that say if they're a dolphin, for example, and say they're number 300, say if their rank goes from 300 to 305, they feel like a FOMO, and then they want to stake more HEX to get back to the previous rank. For me, from where I'm sitting at, I'm okay. I don't need to do that. Don't need to FOMO in. But for other people, you know, to Barely Crafty's point, yeah, we shouldn't be discriminating anyone that is willing to learn about the project and get involved. You know, there's, like I said, there's a lot of complexity when it comes to not only cryptocurrency, but when it comes to HEX in general. You can be very simplified when you're mentioning HEX and when you're talking about it, or you can be very detail-oriented and get really complex with the actual game theory behind it. So it's really cool, because if you just mention to someone that, hey, it's like a CD. You know, most people know the term time locking or certificate of deposit. Most legacy investors, like my grandparents, they got us savings bonds, and they know about certificate of deposit. So when you break it down into terminology that they can understand, aka you know, blockchain certificate of deposit, things like that, then it's easier to get them to understand it. Because the more complex something is, the more maybe the more intimidated they feel. So it's not all about the sharks and whales. Exactly. I mean, if you look at the actual percentage of sharks and whales and prosperous Poseidon, like, it's super low compared to the octopus, the dolphin, and every other league. So very good point, Barely Crafty. Very good point. Let's see. Octopus and crab are cool. Let's see. Our most popular leagues with over 5,000 members in each. You know, that's exactly right. That's a very good point. You know, a lot of people, I mean, Richard kind of mentioned that, like, the average Joe, when they're getting into cryptocurrency, they might throw, you know, 100, 200 in just to kind of test out the waters and see how that cryptocurrency works. And that's totally fine. I mean, the cool thing about HEX specifically is that longer will always pay better, and that never goes away. Even though the big payday is on November 19th, and the adoption amplifier does end a couple of days leading into that, the actual longer pays better never goes away. And so for the people that never got to stake before the big payday, I think a lot of them can make up for the shares and for the time that they missed by just staking longer, because you're going to get more share rates, you're going to get a higher supply of shares, and you're just going to get more interest because of the shares that you own. So very good point. Let me just go back and see if there's any, yes. Let's, cool. So yeah, let's look at the StreamYard. So we got someone on Twitch, says, want to become famous? Okay. No thanks, I don't need to buy followers, but thanks for the shill. Facebook friend, Vanessa, good to see you. Thanks for the information. Yeah, of course. I just started streaming on Facebook starting last week, so it's you know, it's a work in progress. And Taz Compost says, what's up, Taz? But he says, HEX, question mark? Yes. For Vanessa and Taz, my friends in real life, if you don't know what it is, it's a cryptocurrency. It's, you know, Bitcoin's a cryptocurrency, was the first cryptocurrency that gained a lot of popularity, and HEX is a newer cryptocurrency, and it's a better designed cryptocurrency than Bitcoin, and it's designed to appreciate more than Bitcoin did, and it's a very promising project to be in. So if you guys want to look more at it, you can go to the website, which is just hex.com, HEX.com. So it's like you can see on the website, it's the first high interest blockchain certificate of deposit. And then on the actual website, you can see there's an introductory video. There's for any questions, that might be a good place to start. And then there's actual communities as well, Telegram, Twitter, things like that involve HEX and that mention HEX. And it's only growing larger and larger every single day. So it's something that is designed to reward people that get in earlier as opposed to later, because the actual share price, like I said, goes up on a continual basis. So if we just look at, if we look at version 1, since December 15th, we can see how much of a price performance HEX has had. And if you were lucky enough to, say on this day, yeah, all-time low, I think that was day 33, but if you're lucky to get in on, say, January 5th and be a staker that day, you can just see how much gains you would have relative to, you know, the time horizon right now. So that's less than a year, and it's already gone up a significant amount. So yeah, cryptocurrencies, they're the highest appreciating asset out of every other asset. So a lot of these numbers are kind of hard to comprehend. And Richard has even mentioned it that you know, there's no other asset class that the way that you measure it is in multiples of itself. You know, not just 5% or whatever your traditional S&P 500 is getting you, but multiples. So 2x, you know, 200%, and things like that. And HEX has already gone up a significant amount. It's already gone up over 120, I think. Yesterday it might have been like 140 or something like that at its all-time high compared to the all-time low. And we can actually check that real quick on another website, hexinfo.io. And this will give us some more accurate stats to back up the claims that I was mentioning. So if we just scroll down here. Okay. So yeah, it's 150. So in US dollar, from the all-time low to the all-time high, it is up 100 and, okay, it's up 150x right now, and then it's actually up 165x from the very high, from what that looks like. So yeah, there's just no other comparison. You know, a lot of people, thank you, Tripod. I like the candles as well. Richard was the inspiration for those. But you know, a lot of people that hear about cryptocurrency, they hear about Bitcoin, which is great, but it's also 10-year-old, 11-year-old technology. And there's just more promising projects out there. In this case, it would be HEX, that are not only designed better, and they're less prone to hacks and inflation bugs like Bitcoin has had, but they're the cool thing, you know, the new cool thing that's going to do better. The community is less toxic than the Bitcoin community, and it's more welcoming, and everything about it is better. You know, when Richard has talked about why people get into cryptocurrency, a lot of it is the price. You know, the price goes up. They heard that the early Bitcoiners that got in, you know, penny, dollar, multiple dollars, that got in early, and then in 2017, they won a part of that price appreciation. And HEX is a lot more prone to appreciate higher than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has already had its, you know, high appreciation these past 10 years. You know, a lot of money has been made for those people that were in early. But now, you know, good luck getting a 5x in Bitcoin right now. With the market cap that they have, and with the actual price that it is, it would take a lot of economic capital to, you know, get you a 1x, get you a 5x. And so, long story short, yeah, HEX we're less than a year old. We hit an all-time high, I believe it was yesterday, and we're just getting started. So yeah, this is the version 2, and it's still on its daily candle. And yeah, you can see it went to nearly 1 penny. And that's the other thing when it comes to cryptocurrency and numbers, is that sometimes when things are a fraction of a penny, it's kind of hard for most people to comprehend that. You know, when you say 96% of a penny, it's a little bit easier to comprehend. But I think when HEX passes the penny threshold, I think there's going to be a tipping point where people finally understand, like, oh, you know, I can get 100 HEX for $1, and you know, what would $100 do, $1,000 do? And then when they look at the staking, you know, when you stake your HEX, you're guaranteed to earn interest trustlessly because it's the actual contract that's minting you the inflation. It's not a entity or person or anything like that. It's designed in the actual, you know, consensus code. So there's no one that can rug pull or exit scan. So some things sound too good to be true, but in HEX's case, it's not. It's just designed very, very well. It's got a lot of similarities to Bitcoin, actually, and just a lot of people, I feel, are kind of missing out on the similarities, and instead they're player-hating Richard Hart. They, you know, they don't think that this project will last. They think it might be rug pulled. No, the answer to those questions are just no. If anyone knows anything about Richard Hart, he has given away, you know, all of his calls for free. He called the 20K Christmas off in 2017. He's just provided so much value to the actual cryptocurrency community. And the reason that in my opinion, that he still gets a lot of hate from the Bitcoin community and crypto community is because he used to be, you know, the leading Bitcoin maximalist, and, you know, thought Ethereum was shitcoin and all of that. But he actually updated his worldview to the technology that was being implemented and created. So when he called Ethereum a shitcoin, it was more centralized and it had blockchain rollbacks at the time. But now it doesn't have the properties that he was talking about. So let's see, I'm totally gonna botch this name, but for Bracadabra, great to see you, Brian. Thank you, man. Good to see you too. Let's see, Brian Alex, well-structured ladder deployed before big payday can provide significant and nearly perpetual income source. And I agree 100%, man. We can actually look into that now on one of my wallets. We can do that now. So we're gonna switch over to the Google Chrome tab and look at the go.hex.com part of the website, which interacts with the smart contract, and it's where you do the actual staking. So hex.com is the main website, but if you go to go.hex.com, you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. So let's do this now. Because of last week, had some fuckery going on. Wanted to do just a test run to make sure that the actual wallet was working for the staking. So I figured out the actual problem was I just had to reset the MetaMask wallet that I was using. So got 1,000 HEX staked before the live stream just to make sure everything was working good. So yeah, like I said, hex.com, the main website. But if you go to just go.hex.com, this is where you do the staking. This is where you can transfer to another Ethereum address. You can, if you still have Bitcoin, if you had Bitcoin before December 2nd, 2019, you can still free claim. As long as you have your private key sent and your own possession, you can still free claim your HEX. See, the cool thing about this is you're already like 90%, your bag that you would have had of HEX is already 90% given to the stakers because you decided to claim late. So there's a lot of game theory that Richard has thought about that not only, I shouldn't say prevents, but it inhibits people from just claiming with, say, 1,000 Bitcoin and dumping their HEX on the market and making the price go down. So he's thought a lot of things ahead of time. There's the Referral Tab. You can get a 20% bonus if someone clicks on your link, and then you have the 20% bonus. And then that person that clicks on your link, they get a 10% bonus in HEX when they click on your link and when they use the adoption amplifier. So we'll go over that in just a minute too. But this is, like I said, the go.hex.com part of the website. And I know we're kind of covering a lot, but a lot of the people that are watching this right now have been in for a little while. They know what the shares are. They know a little bit more about the HEX. When you have HEX, you haven't staked it. It's just liquid. You know, it's just sitting in a wallet that you could sell. When you take that HEX and you stake it, that is where you earn the interest, and that is where the trustless interest is accrued and realized. We can see that on the go.hex.com website, there's the daily payout per trillion share. And this is something that's very, very unique, because we can see that the HEX is from 1 to 14, and then the days is from 0 to 325, where we're at now. We can see that, on day 1, you got a certain payout, about 1 HEX per trillion share, and now it's up significantly higher. I mean, it's at 4.4, call it 4.5 HEX per trillion share, and that's per day, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So long story short, what that pretty much, the reason I bring that up is, there's payouts of interest in multiple different ways, from when people end their stakes early and from the share rate, the payout per share rate. So let's show you how to stake real quick. We're just going to go to the stake tab. Okay, this is my wallet, and this is some HEX that I have looked at. So we got 21,937. So for the example of this video, we're just going to do Quattro Cinco, 5,555 days, and we're just going to do 1,000 HEX. So real quick, before I do that, 1,000 HEX currently is worth $8.16. But in 5,555 days, with not only the payday bonus, but the interest and everything else, I can promise you, I shouldn't say that I can promise you, but I can speculate that it's going to be worth a lot more. It's at least going to be worth a lot more HEX. We'll see what the dollar value is going to be at that time, but I think it's going to do pretty well. So we're just going to hit the stake button. It'll take just a few seconds to load since we're live streaming as well, and we're just going to speed up the gas speed for the sake of the video. And for people like Taz, people like Vanessa, like I said, I would recommend you go to just the hex.com website, or you can even go to twitter.com, and just type in HEX in the search function. That'll bring up all of the hashtags that have the HEX hashtag. That might be a place to start to kind of understand some of the concepts that we're talking about. But it's as complicated as you want to make it, and it's as simple as you want to make it as well. And one thing that the creator of HEX, Richard, has mentioned is you don't need to understand how HEX actually works to be a speculator and to be a part of it. Not everyone needs to know exactly how, say, the internet and TCP/IP works to use your phone and to use your laptop on a daily basis. You just know that it works. And HEX is very similar. With it being audited 2 different times for security audits, and then 1 time for a financial audit, you can pretty much trust that someone else has looked at the code that's audited it, and they've made sure that pretty much there's not going to be hacks and bugs, things like that. So let's just look at the chat real quick. So Barely Crafty says, financial independence is the main reason I'm in crypto, and HEX has brought me so much closer to my goals. I agree, man. Like I've been in crypto since early 2017, maybe about March. It's when I got into Litecoin, and Litecoin did a lot of false promises to the people that were in this project and community. They had promised development. They had said, you know, big things coming out and things like that. And the cool thing, I don't even want to talk much about it, but the cool thing when you compare HEX to, say, any of the other top 11 cryptocurrencies right now, we can just see right here. Any of these other cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin included, HEX, it beats every metric that you could compare HEX with the other top 11 cryptocurrencies. And when you have something that's designed so well, and something that has been gatekept a lot too, there's a lot of potential and, in my opinion, momentum that could come in the form of a price pressure increase when people actually understand that HEX is here to stay. And when they don't understand, you know, that kind of, it hurts their back because HEX is continuing to go up, and they can stay salty about, you know, being a Bitcoin maximalist and things like this. But if HEX does what it's designed to do, which is in the future, who knows how long this will be, but sometime in the future, if this happens, that HEX out-appreciates Bitcoin in terms of market cap, and then HEX is #1, you're still going to have, in my opinion, a lot of people that might be, you know, old man yells at the sky meme, where they're salty, and there's always going to be some people that missed out and that didn't get the opportunity. But those people, we should just not even talk about them, because we should talk about the people that are, you know, making the community better and that actually do understand the process and why it can go to top 1 market cap. So I showed you real quick how to stake 1,000 HEX for 5,555 days. Right now, it's going to be pending until the actual adoption amplifier day ends. So if we go over to this transform tab here, it'll tell us how much time it's going to take until this stake actually starts. So it's going to be 2 hours and 8 minutes until the stake goes from pending to locked. So once it's locked, for example, let's go to the stake tab, and let's just take this. You know, started on October 11th. It's going to be ending December 27th, 2035, and we got a principal of 50,000 HEX. If I were to hit this end stake button right now, it would nuke. I probably wouldn't even get 1 HEX back for actually doing the end stake. So if you're going to make any changes to your stakes, if it's pending like this one is, you can end the stake without any fees. But if that day did actually roll over, like every other stake that I have besides these two are, then you're gonna get screwed over, and it's going to punish you for not doing what you said you were going to do. So let's go back to the chat real quick here. You know, adoption amplifier OG. That's exactly right. You know, to Vanessa and Taz, I know cryptocurrency and HEX and whatnot might not be concepts that you may be familiar with, but the best analogy that I've heard it described as is like buying Bitcoin at $1. There was a lot of things that the community, the Bitcoiners, had seen then, Richard included, that they came up for a consensus for the logo and for a lot of different things that a lot of us in HEX have seen since the beginning. Let's see here. Flying Alex, any ByDesk HEX OGs? To answer your question, no. I pretty much just staked on Adoption Amplifier, and then also on Uniswap. I bought the HEX from. So yeah, not a ByDesk OG actually, but I'd be curious to see as well for your question if there's any people that bought on that exchange. We got Unhexable. What up, HEX family? Not much, man. Just the price. The price is what's up. That's exactly what's up. If we go over to the version 2, we can just see that HEX these past 7 days. 7 days ago I streamed, and today from the wick up, it's up 128%. And yeah, that's what's up. The price is what's up. And if we go to the version 1, like I said, that's more of a historical chart. You can just see that just like the HEX logo, like we got here, the actual design, Richard made a comment about this recently on Twitter, but it's up and to the right, and that's pretty much what the chart's been doing. I mean, you can see this is up and to the right, from here, up and to the right, from here, up and to the right, so on and so forth. And yeah, that's what's up, right? The price is what's up. And one thing that I mentioned that Funding Jim, Gary, also mentioned on a live stream today was he kind of touched on the centralized exchanges, like I mentioned earlier, the Coinbase, the Gemini, Binance, things like that. He mentioned that there may be a point in time where them having HEX as a buying option is almost inevitable because of the market demand. So if the market demand for Coinbase users is so high, then that might actually push Coinbase themselves to buy HEX so they have a bag to sell to the people that are using their exchange. And it doesn't seem like they've actually bought yet, or like Binance or any of these other large centralized exchanges have done so yet. So for the price gains that we've already seen so far, with how much gatekeeping and with how much silence we've had from those people, it's got a lot of potential. Okay, so Flying Alex, to his point about the ByDesk, he says it was the best HEX market for about a week before it launched, before Uniswap. So that's good to know. When HEX was briefly under 1 Satoshi. Exactly. He mentioned something that a lot of new people may not understand yet, but they're going to understand a couple of years later when they think about, oh yeah, I watched that one video that Brandon Balliet did about HEX, and they'll see, oh, the price a year from now, whenever I have that realization, we can see the video that he made, and the price was 90% of a penny, and the price now could be multiple pennies. He mentions, Flying Alex says that he or she, whatever, should have sold all the other crap and bought more HEX. That's exactly right. I think a lot of people that are not staking their HEX and they're just holding it liquid, I think a lot of those people are going to have the same realization and regret as well once the actual adoption amplifier ends. Because not only the adoption amplifier, but the adoption amplifier and the big payday. Because the big payday is a huge supply inflation that gets paid out to the stakers that are staked on November 19th and past November 19th. So I think the earliest day that you could receive that would be November 20th, I believe. You have to be staked for that day. Your actual stake has to be open that whole day to receive the big payday. So there's going to be a lot of people. HEX is just so complicated in its game theory that there's going to be a lot of people that try and speculate that, oh yeah, let's front run the big payday. We'll do it till November 19th. And I think some of those people are going to be, they're going to be surprised when they realize they didn't get the big payday, from at least what I understand. And HEX, as a cryptocurrency, it's designed to reward the holders, not the traders. Richard has made videos that's on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/RichardHart, where he's analyzed the trades, the buys and the sells of HEX. And he's analyzed, you can do it by wallet, because everyone has their own wallet when it comes to Ethereum and HEX, and it's public. It's something that's all public. And he was kind of going over some of the analysis where one wallet had bought, and then 2 weeks later, it sold, but it sold for a loss. And long story short, yeah, HEX is designed to reward those that are patient, that do what they do what they said they were going to do, and that don't actually trade it. So that's the point that I wanted to make. Fairly Crafty says, just like now, it's under 1 cent. Exactly. It's under 1 cent. Today, it almost reached a cent. I think it was like 96% of a, we'll just get rid of version 1. Yeah, it was about, yeah, call it 97. Like, it was almost at a penny, right? And when we do reach that threshold, there's going to be a lot of people that finally start to understand it, especially with the market cap that we're at, that I think they're going to stop being so hateful and closed-minded to HEX and to Richard Hart. And maybe instead of ad hominem attacking someone, maybe they'll look at the actual merits of what they produce. Richard has mentioned that let's have a meritocracy. Like instead of playing like favorites and whatnot, let's just look at what's designed better. And HEX is that thing that's designed better. So from all the competition that we have, we're already top 12, and it's designed to go past that, and then start competing, like I mentioned earlier, with traditional finance. So Flying Alex says, exactly, we can't change the past, but we can affect the present and the future. Stake as early as you can, and stake for as long as you can. And he also says lock up those T-shares. That's exactly right. On Big Payday, the way that HEX works, when you stake it, you get a share rate. We can see, let's see, so yeah, we can see that the amount of T-shares that I have is 0.271, right? The actual share rate, this right here, the share price, 11,030 HEX per trillion shares. That number only goes up. And I remember when it was at like 10,000, I think might have been like the very bottom or something. But that number on Big Payday and after every single day, after every single week, it goes up because it's a ratcheting system. The more profit that is realized from the earlier stakes, the more the share price goes up to mimic a compounding interest, so those people can't just take their gains and restake it for more. They could restake it for more if they staked it for longer. So there's a little bit of game theory there when it comes to the share rate and the amount of shares that you have. With the actual Big Payday, some people have predicted that the actual share price could go up to 25,000 HEX, 30,000 HEX per trillion share, and it's only going to go up higher from there. So maybe a year from now, I don't know, it might be 50,000. My guess is as good as yours, but the point is that, to his point, you want to get in as early as you can, and you want to stake for as long as you can. And having a ladder can help with this. If you understand HEX, there's a lot of people that have staked for the Quattro Cinco, 5,555 days. But from one hexagon to another hexagon or a potential person getting into HEX, I wouldn't just do one stake. Like he mentioned previously, or someone else, about a ladder, as opposed to 15 years from now, having just one big stake end, maybe spread that 15 years worth of stake between all 15 years, so you have 15 stakes as opposed to one big stake. Because at the end of the day, with the gains that we've seen, HEX throughout, say, even year 2 or year 3, is going to have significant gains compared to the principal that you put in 3 years earlier or 2 years earlier. So you don't want to be tempted in 7.5 years when that Quattro Cinco stake is at 50%. You don't want to be tempted to emergency end stake just so you can get your principal back and not get any of the actual interest. So that's just one recommendation from one person to another. Everyone has different amounts of HEX that they've had, or different amounts that they got early. Like, the point is yeah, long and strong will do the best. And if you're going to do that, you might as well ladder it so you're not tempted, because we've already seen HEX almost today go to a penny. And say when it goes to $1, you don't want to be that guy after big payday that's just, grinding their teeth, that are mad when all these other hexagons are realizing gains. And that person only has one stake for 15 years. So that's just one recommendation from one person to another. So it says lock up those T-shares, and then Abracadabra, let's just call you that, says curious to the payout for T-share will be the 20th of November. I mean, yeah, we looked at it earlier. It was at like 4.5, something like that, HEX per T-share. And I think that's on a per day basis. If someone else could clarify, that would be great. But to his point, his or her point, I would be curious to see the same thing as well, what the actual payout is. But for myself, yeah, big payday is great. It seems to be a lot of the hype for the people that aren't in this project since the beginning and for a very long time. And I don't know, for myself, it's kind of more, my mind and my mental energy is spent thinking of, what's going to happen after big payday and 1 year from now, things like that, bigger picture. Someone asked Richard on his most recent stream, which was like a couple of days ago, and they said, like, when will you stop being satisfied? And when are you going to give up on being obsessed and stuff like that? And I'm kind of paraphrasing the comment, but his response was, once HEX is global reserve currency. And yeah, there's just a lot of people that don't understand how high not only cryptocurrencies can go, but how high something like HEX, that's a cryptocurrency and that's programmed and designed very well, how high that can go compared to everything else. When you have supply and demand, and when you have the market that, you got traditional market, and then you got things like cryptocurrency market, when you start to see that the people that were in cryptocurrency are outperforming the people in their 401ks and things like that, there's definitely going to be more attention to that. And long story short, I agree with Richard. I think that HEX definitely has the potential to not only be around for forever, which it's designed to do so. It's not something you can just turn off. It doesn't have any admin fees like some of these other decentralized cryptocurrencies have. But I don't think it's very hard to imagine that it could be top one cryptocurrency and then go up from there. And he says, Abracadabra is synonymous with HEX. Touché, my friend. Touché. Okay, so let me show you guys something else real quick here. So the HEX community. is very involved. I'm just one Hexican, but there's people like Hexologists, and then there's people like RG3, that's the host of Discord Syndicate, that kind of inspired me to not just make random YouTube videos. They inspired me to get into streaming and whatnot. So we're going to go over to one of the Hexicans' YouTube streams, YouTube videos for right now, and his name is Big Pat. We're going to link his chat real quick here. All right, so we're going to do that on the D Live, and then on the YouTube. I didn't have the YouTube live stream pulled up. Didn't want to overuse the computer, so I'll try to do that on the YouTube as well right now. But while the computer is loading, let me just tell you a little bit about Big Pep. So this is a guy that has been in HEX, it seems like, for at least a handful of months, and he's also a programmer. I think he said he had, yeah, a computer science degree. And so with him, he's produced some Excel sheets that are very valuable and very resourceful to the people in the HEX community and just in traditional community that are analytical as well. So let me just respond real quick to Terry. Oh shit, okay. Let me, he says, hi Bran, there's some weird music playing, which is difficult to follow what you're saying. Sorry man, didn't know it was that loud. Let's see, Big Pep, thanks for joining the stream, dude. He says, how's it going, Balliet? Great day to be in HEX. Couldn't agree more, my friend. So what I just linked, guys, was the Big Pep. We can see that he was in the chat, but it's the Big Pep YouTube channel. And he's got a handful of videos, and in some of his videos, he also has the actual download to the Excel sheet. And you'll have to save it, for myself at least, had to save it as a Google Sheets, I believe. And then from the Google Sheets, you can change the numbers yourself. So this is his channel, and then from here, like I said, you can click on the different videos to get the downloads. So this is just one of the sheets that he had, and it's kind of like, you know, there's different inputs that you can put here. You know, so you got multiple, you got the amount of years, the interest rate, and then the current price, things like that. And, you know, you can change this number to, you know, 2.5, things like this, and scroll down. There's different levels of inputs that you can put in for your own pleasure that'll kind of mimic the compounding interest in the math behind HEX to kind of give you a better visualization for the potential of not only HEX increase, but possible price increase as well with the inputs that you may or may not put in. So thank you, Big Pep, for the not only the live streams, but just the spreadsheets as well. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you a lot. Let's see here. Flying Alex, I heard Big Pep's videos are really good. They are. I think I might have clipped one of them. I might have clipped one of them on my YouTube channel, but it's got his original video right there in the description. And I just recommend that you click on the original, because that's who made it. You know, you want to support the originator, not just the person that clipped it. So yeah, Big Pep, he's got a lot of valuable, not only like experience, because he seems, you know, myself, I turned 24 yesterday, and that's probably on the lower end of the Hexican spectrum. But then there's people like RG3, that's around my dad's age, people like Big Pep, and we just got a whole, you know, variety and range of ages, of ethnicities, people that speak different languages. My girlfriend, who's Venezuelan, when I try to explain sometimes these concepts in English, sometimes I feel like there might be a disconnect, right? And the reason that I mention that is HEX has on Telegram a what is it? Like a HEX Spanish HEX where she can go in, and she's a member of the community, and she can get some of those complex questions understood and answered. And we've got Germany and all these different languages, Russian as well, that different members of other ethnicities, other communities, that they can actually understand the product. So, Flying Alex, thank you, man. A happy belated B-Day. Thanks, man. It definitely was a great day. Let's see. So yeah, the birthday was on Saturday. On Friday, I tuned into I think it was the Richard Hart and the Nicholas Merton, the Data Dash, their live stream. But then after, I'd already kind of fallen asleep pretty early, was the Discord Syndicate. And holy shit, did price pump during their stream, So it's pretty cool that this, like, one of the major differences between cryptocurrency and, say, traditional finance is cryptocurrency, the markets are 24/7. It doesn't stop. Whereas traditional finance, you got certain trading windows and opens and closes. And anyways, it's cool that last night when I went to bed on my birthday night and then woke up this morning, like, holy shit, dude, price pumped significantly. Like, we're almost out of penny. It's cool that we have that type of opportunity in crypto and with HEX specifically, because there's not just the Americans buying in, there's the Europeans, and people got, like I said, different time zones that they're awake and that they buy in on. So there's varying levels of FOMO end up pumping depending on what side of the world is actually awake at that time. Let's see. So James Hunto says, only 5% of your funds should be staked for 10 years. What if house prices collapse and you have money locked up? Yeah, I mean, I agree. Kind of like a general rule of thumb in investing in general, but especially with cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrencies are so volatile, is, yeah, RG3's mentioned this a lot too, but yeah, just don't invest more than you're willing to lose, because we've seen a lot of these cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, have significant volatility. I mean, in 2017, December, it was $20,000, and today it's not 20,000, it's like 11,000. Like, it's lower than it was, that long time ago. And I agree to his point that, yeah, if you have like your rent money, or like they say, like betting the farm, if you have like your rent money, say for next month, and the price just happens to go down and not up, like you speculated it might, well, now you're in the negative and you're trying to scrap up money just to pay rent. So yeah, don't invest more than you're willing to lose. And don't try and, in my recommendation, I wouldn't recommend that people try and compete with the people that got in earlier or that have more shares and things like that, just so you can have a higher status. Like, fuck that, dude. Just stake it and do it for the time intervals that you want. Some of my stakes end on monthly time frames. Some of them end, on an annual or quarterly time frame. And then, yeah, just decide how you want to stake. Some of mine also end on like the birthday of next year, Christmas of next year, certain events. And make a plan for your stake and then stick to the plan. Don't make that plan and then, 30 days into the stake, have some sort of regret that you end up doing something stupid. So that's just my recommendation. Barely Crafty, I don't think I have. I'll definitely, yeah, I'd totally be down to look at it, man. Have you seen my Creepy Hex video? I can DM you the link on Twitter. Yeah, if you want to, there's the Brian Jones or the BallietBran, whichever one you want, and feel free to link it on Twitter, and I'll stop the screen share for just a minute, and we can see the video that you're talking about. You just sent that to me now. Let me stop screen share for just 1 second, and let me look at this video. Terry White says, Hex, we have liftoff. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Let's just make sure I did stop sharing that screen. So yeah, while this is loading and while I pull up his video or his link that he sent me, yeah, there's a ever growing community in HEX, and it's cool because a lot of us we want to relate to people that are like us. You don't want to be, I don't know, you don't want to be like really old and the community only seems like young kids. Like then you're not sharing a commonality for something that you're invested in or something that you're joining. So it's cool for people to have some sort of familiarity and similarity for people that are in their age range or that share similar ideas that think like them. Like you want people to be in the community that are similar, not just all different. So let me look at his message real quick. Okay, let me pause this synthwave music and let's share the screen again. Okay, and then let's see his tweet. So, breaking HEX crypto news. Apparently, I missed the HEX big payday. Went completely cray, and spent the rest of the time trying to send this message back in time to my past self. I've adjusted my timeline accordingly. Will you adjust yours? P.S. Future HEX price not mentioned. Let's see if it'll. Shit. Okay. The actual volume I think is going through. Okay. Well, let me link this. I'm sorry about this. Let me link this to the actual video itself because the actual volume that I have is going through my speakers that aren't on the video. So we're just going to have to. I'm going to have to listen to that video off stream because there's a little bit of voice competition there. So Stephen says, Stephen, it's my fishing blog, says evening exhibitors. Big Tap, thanks, Balliet. Appreciate you promoting my channel. Dude, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the cool thing about HEX and about this community specifically is when you compare it to other communities seem to be so maximalist and so toxic, like my side versus your side, and especially when it comes to promoting like my channel versus your channel. Let's not shill someone else's channel. They might, get views and take away from mine. And long story short, in HEX, we don't really have that. Like the community itself, Hexologist specifically, he's promoted my channel, my videos, and like we just got a whole lot of synergy within the community itself that is just going really, really well. So let's post this to the chat. I didn't know you can actually post to the chat through StreamYard, and so yeah, go check out Barely Crafty's his tweet with a 2-minute video, it seems. And then let me do this with Eli real quick too. Okay. Like I said, we're going to work on the technical difficulties and streaming stuff to make that change in the future where I can play the audio through the screen share and not just these headphones. So next time for sure. He says, brace yourself. Cross promotion is huge in the HEX community. That's exactly right. That's the word I was looking for. Cross promotion. It definitely is huge. And Richard's mentioned this, and so has Gary, or the funding Jim, has mentioned this a lot, that in crypto, it seems to be a very niche or like tight-knit kind of small community, and that it would be nice for user adoption to spread ourselves thin, or just be involved in other communities and cross promote from there. Because if you're just talking to, crypto Twitter or like an echo chamber as an example, the amount of new people that you onboard is going to be a lot less than if you post to your Facebook. Like that's what I started doing. Is I kind of had to debate with myself, like, shit, dude, should I post this on Facebook? Like, I don't really go on Facebook much anymore, actually at all. But do I want to expose a lot of my, high school friends and family and whatnot, to this? And long story short, I jumped the gun last week, and I think it's a smart decision. The more people that actually hear about it with an open mind and actually look into HEX and how it's designed, and say even how it compares to Bitcoin, I think a lot of those people have potential to be new users and to be onboarded as a HEX account, as opposed to buying. Here's the other thing, like as opposed to buying, like say you hear about Bitcoin, you want to buy some, okay, let's buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. It's 0.0000, like there's so many zeros in a one or whatever the actual price is, that it's kind of a turnoff for the average investor. It definitely was that way for me when I got in, early 2017. So the cool thing about it is just everything about it is more simple and it's more easy to understand. Like oh, we can see on hexinfo.io, we can see that we want to do, Richard mentioned that the average Joe puts in about $200 just to see if that speculation will play out or not, just as a random number. Okay, well, if I put in $200 worth of Bitcoin, you're going to get X amount of Bitcoin. You're not even going to get one. You're going to get a fraction. But if I put that money in the, 23,238. Well, from a psychological standpoint, that number sounds a lot better than the fraction of one, right? So just some of the things, some of the ways that HEX was designed from a longevity standpoint is just so much better designed, and it's already doing so much more than Bitcoin was designed to do. It beats Bitcoin as a currency and as a store of value. And we're less than a year in, guys. Less than a year in. So go back and see if there's any comments. We got Grant Carstool, who says, yo. What's up, Grant? Good to see you. Steven or Stephen. My brother's name is Steven as well, so I don't know. He spells it the same way you do, so I don't know if it's Steven or Stephen. But anyways, it's my fishing blog says, Richard is different to most in that he warns you if price goes down. That's the other thing. Let's go to, I don't know if we're actually on the main page, but I know it's somewhere on this main page that mentions, yeah, HEX, a lot of crypto is very volatile. It can go up a lot of amounts, like we've seen, but it can also go, to zero, quote unquote. And yeah, HEX is the only cryptocurrency that is mentioning things like that. If you go to bitcoin.org, or if you go to the Ethereum website, you're going to not hear anything about price. And from what Richard has mentioned, he's mentioned that that's a very dishonest form of business and form of practice, because if that's the only thing, if price is the only thing that the average investor is getting into and that they care about, well, it seems a little bit dishonest that you don't give them a warning that, hey, this is very volatile, and history has shown that. And so, long story short, yes, HEX is definitely very honest. Richard himself is very honest as well with how he's conducted the actual cryptocurrency itself. And just in his past 3-something years that I've watched him, he's really stood out from the pack. there was a lot of like influencers that I listened to, and some of those people I made crypto investments and buys and sells based on the videos that I had watched. And if I had, just like one of the guys mentioned, oh, if I had gotten HEX at 1 Satoshi, part of me thinks like, man, I knew about Richard then, but if I had followed all of his calls and only listened to him like I do now, as opposed to these other influencers, obviously I would be doing better. But hindsight's always 20/20. You could always have that hindsight bias. There's going to be people that get in after big payday, and they'll find out about big payday once it's too late, of course. And they'll say, oh shit, I could have got 2x my principal for just staking through November 19th, as an example. Well, shit, wish I could have gone back in time. So to Barely Crafty's tweet that I put in the link, that's what he was kind of saying from the text that I read, was like, yeah, don't be one of those people that heard about it, could have got into it, and then didn't. And then it chose to, it didn't choose, but then the actual price went up a lot, and you didn't invest until later. So we got Johnny Chaos in the house. He says, hey Brian, what's up, my friend? Good to see you, Johnny. And that's another person in the HEX community as well. If we go to Twitter, yeah, we got Barely Crafty. He's a good guy to follow. John Lavelle, Johnny Chaos. He's got a lot of. I don't think he has a YouTube channel, but he makes a lot of videos that they're short rants in regards to, sometimes they're in regards to people in the community or people that are trash talking it, and he's very succinct and blatant with how he mentions his information. And I think a lot of people can relate to him because there's a lot of like, I don't know, dreams being sold and a lot of like fakery, if you want to call it that, in the cryptocurrency community, that like, yeah, Bitcoin can go to $1 million per Bitcoin when it hasn't even reached its all-time high of $20,000 in the past 3 years or however long. So 1 million is very unrealistic from a time perspective. Like in my opinion, yeah, when you compare the price that Bitcoin is right now to where it would be at $1 million, and you take that percentage gain, HEX has a lot more of an opportunity to gain that same percentage than Bitcoin does, because Bitcoin's already had a lot of its gains. So yeah, John, he's a great person to follow. He's got like I said, a lot of different videos you can see right here that he makes videos on. So, and then even in this one, so I guess I missed the memo on this, but yeah, I guess HEX reached top 10 market cap, and I think right now it's at like 12, or the last time I looked at it. But yeah, guys, this project is not going away. People think that, oh, Richard's the central entity, like he can pull the rug or stop the project. No, that's not the case at all. It's just like Bitcoin, where yeah, you can't stop it, and HEX specifically. So Richard's mentioned that, I don't even want to mention these things, but like if anything bad were to ever happen in the future, where for whatever reason, if he wasn't the main face of HEX and things like that, or say in the future if someone were to pass away, like HEX would not stop functioning because of that that event. Like I said, God forbid that ever happens. Don't even like thinking about stuff like that. But when you just compare HEX to everything else, guys, it's that much better. And when you compare Bitcoin to HEX, Bitcoin was anonymous, Satoshi. We don't know who that person is. And Richard had the balls to not only create and develop and invent something that is so much better, but he he shows the face, and so do a lot of us Hexicans, myself included. I mean, I went under the moniker Brian Jones for since I started following Richard on crypto Twitter, and you know, now we got the BallietBran YouTube channel, my my legit YouTube channel, showing the face, not just a avatar or bot like some of these other communities claim, or like they even practice in their own different crypto communities. So crypto definitely has a lot of like false worshiping, and a lot of just promises being sold that is designed to pump their bags, and it's designed for them to pull the rug on you. But in reality, when you compare HEX to the rest of the crypto community, it's the most honest. There's a lot of people that are going to realize that, and they're going to realize it too late. Let's go back to the comments. Fairly Crafty says, Johnny Chaos, love your videos and tweets, keep it up. I agree, keep it up, man. Everyone in the community, as much as I don't like making a scene and like calling people out and stuff like that, when you have influencers that are shit talking and they're blatantly slandering not only the creator but the design of the project, you gotta shut that shit down. It's just as simple as that. You really have to. And a lot of us people in the community, whether it's on YouTube, on videos, whether it's through comments on Twitter or videos on Twitter, a lot of us have shut down, or at least put out our opinions in regards to their comments. So I think the more of that, the better. So Johnny says, thanks. Watch the sad story. I will, man. I'll have to watch it after the stream, because got a different mic setup that I'm trying to still work some bugs on. So Ryan says, nice stream, Brian. Good to see you, Ryan. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for the support. I appreciate you. Let's see. Oh, go down one video. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we're definitely I'm gonna have to watch that. Like I said, I can't actually hear the audio because it's going through the headphones that you don't see in the frame right now. But yeah, we're gonna get that fixed. We're gonna get that fixed. All right. At least we're doing it on a weekly basis, so I can make some sort of improvements as we go along. So let's see here. So I saw that Johnny Chaos one. You have an acting background or something? He says, obviously I'm pretty theatrical. I mean, yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like I mentioned, when you have facts, and then you have someone that is slandering or making up information in the guise of facts, and they're the influencers at the time, and they're shit talking someone that is speaking the truth. It's hard not to be theatrical, and it's hard not to be emotional. Like I kind of do it sometimes too, where like I don't know anymore. It's the patience is very thin. You know, the candle's already burnt down so much that, you know, there's only so much patience that you can have. And long story short, yeah, everyone in the community, they're doing a great job of not only spreading the awareness, and you know, we went over Big Pep, his spreadsheets, and Brennan as well. I might have his YouTube channel or his Twitter channel that I can link to. I haven't actually looked at them myself, but yeah, Brennan, he's got I'll link you guys his Twitter channel at least. He's got some charts and some information from what I've been told that is useful and similar to Big Pep. So the more data and analysis and, you know, charts that we have, things like that, the merrier and the better, because everyone learns at different rates. And even for myself with the Big Pep spreadsheet, you know, just watch his video, because he kind of goes over different inputs, and I think he does a better job explaining it than I could try and do on the stream. So yeah, I mean, he's got, I'm guessing the bottom part of this is days, but yeah, you can see just an example of, you know, share price. So one cost of T-share in the next 1,000 days. There we go. So in the next 1,000 days, it's projected to be about 55,000, something like that. Like, when you start to think of the shares and of the HEX as well, that both of them seem to go up. For sure the shares go up, but the price itself seems to go up as well, at least as of lately. Yeah, it's just better to get in now, better to get in early, to go for long, so you can earn these gains, and it's just compounding interest, guys. So yeah, Brennan, let me link his channel here. Thank you for the ice cream, Johnny. Thank you very much. And we are going to post that on the StreamYard as well. Let's see. Terry White says, would you expect Ivan on Tech to start being more bullish, positive, on HEX once the dust has settled after the big payday? So let's answer that. I know someone else has kind of speculated before on that question, and I don't know. I mean, I know, I actually don't, I follow Ivan, but I don't really watch his videos. I know that he's mentioned HEX a handful of times. I know that he did a one-on-one video with Richard Hart, and at the end of the day, he is a YouTuber, you know, an influencer, and at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of closet Hexicans that don't want to come out publicly because it might compromise their reputation, or it might actually affect their sponsors. Like a lot of these, you know, crypto influencers that I mentioned on YouTube and whatnot, a lot of those people, you know, they have their referral link for trading, and they're getting paid through those referral links. And when you have something like HEX that is designed to reward you not to trade, when you have stuff like that, it's direct competition. So to answer your question, I don't know. I know he's mentioned HEX a handful of times. It's very possible. Like I said, my guess wouldn't be the best because I don't really follow him. I used to a long time ago, but not anymore. I follow him, but just don't watch his videos. Let's see. Hex NAOG says, as RG3 said, most of us were out of crypto until HEX. That's exactly right. You know, for anyone that had gotten into crypto in 2017, RG3 was one of these people, at least that he mentioned, is that a lot of people, they, you know, we saw in December massive gains, right? People were checking their portfolios on a daily basis, and that was at the tip of the bubble, and a lot of people didn't actually sell. Yeah, there's been a lot of people that have gotten PTSD and like hurt from previous crypto rug pulls and different bubbles and whatnot, that a lot of us were out of cryptocurrency markets or had lost faith in crypto until HEX. I know Gary with Funding Gym has, I'm not going to share his numbers exactly, but he's mentioned that, yeah, in the crypto bull run of 2017, the wallet that he had went from X amount of dollars all the way up to a significant amount, and his experience, like a lot of us others, including myself, held, you know, strong hands, and held that shit until you know, its value went down significantly lower, and sometimes lower than the principal that you put in. So yeah, a lot of crypto does have sometimes bad reputations and things like that because of the scams that go on, the hacks that go on, the the wash trading and the blatant fraud that goes on as well. A lot of that stuff gives the reputation a bad name. Not to mention the crypto is only designed to, the news articles that the fear mongering that it's designed for, drugs and darknet markets, when in reality that's just not the case. A lot of people, yeah, up until HEX were hurt, but now that HEX has been created and designed well, it's audited, a lot of people, including myself, can actually feel comfortable, telling your brother, your friend, coworker, things like that, about HEX, if you're ever so inclined. Because just before, there wasn't that opportunity, especially when it's your reputation. When you're behind the camera, Brandon Balliet or Hexologist or anyone like that, and you're recommending something that is not designed well, then you're going to get a lot of people hurt. But in this case, HEX is the opposite. HEX is something that I do feel comfortable, not necessarily recommending you buy or anything like that, but recommending that, hey, you look at the website, go to hex.com, check out the website. If you like what you see, then it's up to you whether you invest or don't invest, Just as simple as that. It's information at the end of the day. And that's what someone like Richard Hart has done in the community since I followed him. That's all he does, is he's given not only the most honest, but the most accurate information as well. And so HEX is changing lives, not only for the people that got in early, but when it comes to the experience, when we have OKX, big exchange, when we have that exchange that right now their withdrawals are frozen. We have Arthur Hayes, CEO of BitMEX, CEO of a derivatives platform where people trade with leverage. But when we have him that had some sort of legal issues and things like that, when we have these hacks, Cryptopia on down the list, finance included, it just gives the average person a reason to not get in, right? But with HEX, with what Richard Hart has done, it gives that person security, and it's been audited. What other, is Bitcoin audited? No. What other cryptocurrency has 2 security audits and 1 financial audit? None, to my knowledge. So it's something that you don't have to understand the technology to get into it and to speculate and to have it possibly do very well. So we look at it right now, we can just look at the price, 86% of a penny. So yeah, HEX is doing very well, guys. In my opinion, it's going to continue to do well. For a lot of the people that say are in the traditional crypto markets or the Bitcoin trading and whatnot, a lot of those people, they look at the HEX chart and they're like, oh, nice, looks like a bull flag, looks like XYZ. Even from any standpoint that you look at it, there's a lot of things that are appealing about it. So if people want to trade, feel free, please trade, please, because all that's really going to do is pump my bags at the end of the day. Let's see. So let me read just a couple more comments and we'll kind of wrap up here. So Terry says, and by the way, thank you for your comment. I've seen this guy or girl, whoever you are, on my streams and on a lot of streams for a long time in the HEX crypto. So they say, I think you just put your finger on it when you coined the term closet hexkins. Exactly. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them about. We need a HEX. We need a HEX Pride Day to help those people get over their FUD infection. Well, that's exactly right. And a lot of these influencers, like I said, they've built their reputation on shilling shitcoins and these projects that have no merit and no actual thesis behind it. A lot of those people, they yeah, they gained their following in 2017, and they gained their following on the latest cryptocurrency that pumped. And yeah, I agree. I mean, I think not only do we have a very visible HEX community that's showing their faces. A lot of us in the community, you know, it's either first and last names or faces of people. There's a lot of people that, yeah, are also closet Hexicans that maybe on the, like someone mentioned, Ivan on Tech, you know, he's had an interview with Richard. He's mentioned HEX a handful of times, and he's even kind of used it as a, yeah, he's mentioned it a handful of times that, yeah, there's a lot of people that on the side, they're probably invested, but they don't want to ruin their reputation publicly. Because HEX has had a lot of, you know, you either like it or you don't. And then there's the Bitcoin community, and a lot of it's toxic maximalism. But then there's that community that any person that mentions HEX, you know, they just try and stab and shank and whatnot. And HEX is going to stand the test of time. Richard's mentioned that HEX, when you compare, I think it was like the top 10 market cap, that HEX was in, or sorry, when you compare Bitcoin compared to the other top 10 market caps, I believe this is what he said, that Bitcoin was in the bottom third of performance, I believe. So there's things like Ethereum, and there's things like HEX that are outperforming Bitcoin. And for the people that are in that community, the Bitcoin community, specifically, that are the maximalists, and they don't think that Bitcoin will ever be not necessarily overtaken or overruled or anything like that, but they don't necessarily think that serious competition can happen. They've been proven wrong, not only by price performance, which is very important, but by market cap too. There's a lot of cryptos that are inching its way up. So it's nice to be on the right side of history. Okay, so yeah, Flying Alex, very good point, man. He says, mooning price is the best cure for FUD. That's exactly right. There's one specific trader on crypto Twitter that they had mentioned, like, oh yeah, they had shown a screenshot of HEX, and they had said, like, yeah, even though I don't like this cryptocurrency, this looks like a good chart to trade. So I agree. It's a mooning price, and price appreciation going up is good for HEX, and it is good for FUD, because at the end of the day, Richard Hart, he's the one that has mentioned this the most, in my opinion. He's mentioned that, yeah, you know, it's not in it for the technology, like a lot of these people have. A lot of it is in it for the price appreciation. You know, you heard that someone else 2x their bags or whatever X, and or however much percentage gain, and they want a piece of the pie too. And so a lot of that FUD, I agree, is being combated by HEX going up. And when you have your average Joe that hasn't heard about HEX, say they just go on the website, say as far as market cap websites, say they go on the most mainstream. I'm not even going to mention it, it's just not worthy, but the most mainstream, to my knowledge, market cap website that people normally go to is gatekeeping the hell out of HEX, where when you're supposed to be ranking it by market cap, they're purposely hiding it on like page 2, like 202. And it's not only being dishonest, but it is doing the opposite of what crypto was designed for and what it was designed to do. Bitcoin. Richard Hart has been in for a very, very long time when he's mentioned mining full Bitcoin blocks, you know, way back when he's mentioned things like that. He's also mentioned the cyberpunk aspect of it, you know, getting rid of middlemen, getting rid of these exchanges that are counterparties. When you have something like HEX that is gaining popularity more and more, there's going to be a breaking point, in my opinion, for those mainstream market cap websites where they, I mean, theoretically, like, yeah, once it's, you know, top 5 or something like that, it's just going to be hard for them to continue gatekeeping it. And I think once a lot of the average Joes realize that oh, HEX is actually doing better than, you know, the rest of the cryptocurrencies, top 13, top 12. I think there's going to be a lot of people that might change their bag. You know, they might sell the coins that they were in, and they might get into HEX because it's just more honest. So it's best to be honest from the start, like Richard Hart has done, and not to screw over your you know, people that you have influence over, because that only lasts such a short amount of time before they realize that they're being screwed over. You know, people that do trading, not only in traditional finance is it really gloated upon, but especially cryptocurrency. There's this huge like vision for people that, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have $1,000 that I start out with, and I'm gonna be an expert trader, and it's gonna be $1 million. And a lot of those people, they're not only being sold false dreams, but it's just not reality. So for people like Richard that promote they promote that you don't trade, that you don't play video games, that you don't do X, Y, Z that he's talked about before. People like Richard, they've stood the test of time. They've been on the right side of history, and they'll continue. Richard will continue to do so. And yeah, that's why I'm part of this community, and that's why I'm showing my face and not just a avatar anymore. So a nano surprise says something in a language that I'll have to translate off stream. So looks like it might be Russian or something. But yeah, so we got all different types of people in the community, and it's going well. So big payday, guys. Big payday is on November 19th, and you want to be in. If you're interested in HEX, it would behoove you to be a staker before the big payday ends, because once it ends, it'll never happen again. The referral program for HEX will end as well. That is one. Whoops, yeah, definitely not Russian. Thank you, Maud, for helping out. Good to know. So yeah, last thing I'll say, guys, is since I didn't cover the actual go.hex.com part of the website, there's a referral link. So, you know, right now, between now and I think November 17th is when this ends, you can spread your referral link, and you, the person that's doing the referring, you will get 20% of what that person claims, and that person will get a 10% bonus from clicking your link. And you can also do self-referral as well, but you're going to have to look into that to do it yourself. I'm not going to tell you in this video. It's already too long of a video. So long story short, guys, is, yeah, when you have this opportunity, you should use it well. You should, if you're getting a friend into it, have them click on your referral link. That way you can earn more HEX. Because at the end of the day, HEX is not going anywhere, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot more expensive per share in the future. And from a daily basis, today is the best share price you can get in it. So that's my my stream for now, guys. We'll do it weekly, like I said, roughly around 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sundays. So last week was a little bit later because there was different issues going on, but this week is around 2 o'clock. So expect around 2 o'clock for the live streams. And great news, guys. Guys and girls, Vanessa, thanks for joining. And you know, we got price appreciation. When it comes to, this is the last thing I'll say, but for someone like myself, 24, my grandpa's 90, he's still alive. My dad's like 58, 59. When I think of, say, my dad, for example, he's kind of in the mentality financially of like, all right, let's start thinking about retirement. you know. For someone like myself, I like to plan ahead as well. HEX is that opportunity because it is that opportunity for me, and it is that opportunity for my dad as well, because when you have something that, say, just a social program like Social Security, just real quick, something like Social Security that goes out of my check every other week, most likely, in my opinion, my generation is not going to see a penny of that. That's just my guess, because it's just it's being allocated improperly, being spent on other things. So long story short is that HEX is that opportunity for myself, for maybe my dad as well, maybe for you, if you're an average Joe viewer, to have something that not only you control, but there's not going to be a hack, there's not going to be a rug pull. It teaches you to hold your own private keys. So you have to have your own private keys to do the adoption amplifier process, and it's just it's teaching people to do things the right way. So Richard has mentioned the term of he's just mentioned that like HEX is going strong. It's gone on for 300 and something odd days. Hasn't had any hacks, but he has a tweet where, oh, this exchange, you know, BitMEX or OKX or on down the list, right? There's a long list, and he mentions like, oh, it's like a trail of bodies in a river as HEX is standing strong. And you know, people that think Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin, you know, only 21 million in supply, when in reality it's had two different inflation bugs. One that was actually abused, like that they had to roll the chain back on, where someone was able to print as much Bitcoin that they wanted. I think when he's talked about it, it was like 6 million at the time. But long story short, was there was a rollback of the chain. And then the second inflation bug was from a Bitcoin Cash developer that found the exploit, and he was honest enough, that developer was honest enough to share the exploit as opposed to taking it to their own advantage. So with HEX, when you compare it to any other cryptocurrency, not only is it the most honest, but it's the most secure. So when you've got significant amount of money, say hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds, when you have that amount of money in HEX or any cryptocurrency, you want it to be there in a year, a couple of years when you go to pull out. You don't want that, you don't want your money on an exchange where they have custody of your actual money or cryptos. So long story short, it's a great project. It's the best project out there. It's doing things that Ethereum has been trying to do for many years and hasn't successfully adopted yet or achieved yet. HEX is doing all of it better. So the competition is really, there's really nothing better. So I'll read a couple more comments and then I'll get out of here. Line Alex, awesome job, nice chat, Brand. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining this whole time, man. I appreciate your views. Let's see. Let's keep an eye on that price next few weeks. I think there are more surprises in store for us. And then he says, you are wise beyond your years, Brand. You know, yeah, we'll cover just a couple more minutes. Yeah, with the price going to nearly 1 penny, I agree. I mean, big payday, when it's like at the current price evaluation that it's valued at, I believe Hexologist said it's like 1.3 billion US dollars worth is the amount that's going to be distributed to the stakers that are staked that day in regards to value. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that want to that pie, and the longer they stake, the more shares they're going to have. I think just the design intention of big payday, of the adoption amplifier ending a couple days before the big payday ends, I think there's a lot of that will most likely make the price volatile in a positive manner. That's just my guess from what we've seen. Yeah, I agree, man. I definitely agree. I mean, a lot of us were kind of guessing on Discord Syndicate, like, you know, big picture question, like, oh, what do you think the price will be in a year? Random guess. What do you think the price will be at the end of Big Payday? Random guess. And in my opinion, it was, yeah, 1 to 3 cent range was kind of my opinion. And anyways, it's crazy that we're almost at a penny as of today, and we still got a few weeks left before the Big Payday. And so, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people getting into it. And with the market cap hitting 10 on top 10 on some websites, that's only going to provide more FOMO and more knowledge to the people that haven't heard about it yet. So last thing we'll do is just read one last comment. Flying Alex, you are wise beyond your years, Brand. Thank you, man. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone that's mentioned that as well. Yeah, I'm 24, got 3 older brothers. The oldest one's like 7 years older than me, and throughout life, yeah, it's always just been a game of trying to improve, trying to learn as much as possible, and don't repeat the same mistakes. I mean, try to learn from your mistakes, and ideally, try to learn from others' mistakes too, so you don't repeat those, and so you don't go through the same troubles that they went through. So with HEX and with SciVive and following Richard Hart these past few years, yeah, he's definitely an abundance of knowledge, and it's something that I'm very proud and happy to be a part of, because it's not only done so much, but just wait until things like SciVive get published, and yeah, there's a lot of positive potential for HEX. To think that we're less than a year old, we're doing everything that Bitcoin was doing, but better within Bitcoin's first year. And so with HEX already having anonymity, if you want to do it through HEX NATO, with it having DK Sync, all of these different transactions that you can have scalability. When you compare that to Big Daddy Bitcoin, is kind of the term that I use, it's, in my opinion, it's very easy to see that it's just a matter of time before HEX is top 1. So that's the stream. Thank you, Flying Alex. Thank you, Barely Crafty. Everyone in the chat. Into the Fire, Ryan, Johnny Chaos. Let's see, Terry. Who's the guy that called Adrian that is often mentioned? To Terry's point, I mean, not gonna mention him. To my last point, I'm gonna do what Richard Hart has mentioned, and if there is something that is an obvious scam, or if there is a person or influencer that is promoting things that are just opposite from the truth, I'm not gonna mention it by name. That's just the way it is. I mean, Terry, if you can answer that question yourself if you did a little bit more research. But in this video, I'm just not going to do it, just because, yeah, that is something that Richard's mentioned, and if I mention it now, then maybe someone that's watching the stream goes over to his channel, and it's just not worth it. You'll have to dig a little bit deeper if you want to find out who that person is. So that's all I'm going to say there. And yeah, thank you, Richard, for creating HEX. I'm proud Hexagon, part of the Hexagon Space Force. We got some HEX stickers that just randomly appear in Seattle that I've noticed lately, and yeah, it's a great project. So for everyone that's watching HEX streams, just follow that. Thank you very much. But yeah, for everyone that's watching, let's actually do the chest, because I forgot to do that last time. But appreciate all of you guys following and being patient with the technical difficulties, with the music, with the screen share, with all of it, because it's a work in progress. But I'll at least maintain the consistency and improve as I go along. So thank you all for doing that. And let's just do some chess. Doing this live so y'all can see. So yeah, if you're on D Live, click the collect rewards chest, and some 344.2 lemons are being distributed to the chat on DLive and to the people that have commented. There's a little algorithm there. So yeah, that's the stream. We're gonna go just a couple, like maybe 1 minute more, just to see who won. Flying Alex, there we go. Yep, there you go, man. Congrats, dude. Congrats, and yeah, to everyone next time. Yeah, thank you for joining on DLive, and thank you for contributing on. Exactly. See, that's the thing is yeah, you gotta stick around. You gotta click it when the Kraken is released, and yeah, benefits the people that actually click the button. So anyways, yeah, thanks Alex for the stream and for modding. Appreciate that, man. And for everyone else, I'll see you next Sunday. Okay, peace.